Good evening and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. My name is Dr. Lauren Fisher and I am the host. I'm very excited to have Jenn Schwartz of Impact Your Fitness and of the podcast Think Fit, Be Fit on tonight. And we will be introducing her in just a few minutes. For those of you who may be tuning in, and you're new to the area or new to this show, I'm representing the Wellness District, which is part of the Delray Business Association. We are an awesome collective group of about 45 wellness, fitness, and health professionals. You can check us out at visitdelray.com, especially if you're local and you're looking for some services. We pretty much can cover everything from your mind, body, and spirit. So with that said, I want to let you know about something exciting happening in Visit Delray. Visit Delray is our business association, and we just announced a very cool raffle. We are so appreciative of our local community, how much they've supported our small businesses. And from March 10th to March 31st, we have, let's see the picture here, Shop Local and Win. We have a trip to Delray Beach, Florida, going one Delray to the other. So we're encouraging your continued support of our local businesses. It could be anybody in the Delray area or who's part of the Delray Business Association, and that's visitdelray.com. It's in the comment box. So for every $25 you spend, you get one entry. So if you had a $75 night out for dinner, that would be 3 entries. And there is no unlimited entries. So you can go ahead and shop, eat, drink all you want, and maybe you're going to win a beach trip. And of course, it'll be at the end of the year where by then, hopefully, we're all vaccinated and able to travel and live life again. So that's great. So please check that out. And before I have our guest, I want to let you know tonight for tuning in, we have a giveaway. Someone is going to win a Lens Fitness Tracker. And we're going to announce that winner at 7:25 p.m. tonight. So to be entered in that, please say hello so I know who's here and your name, and you'll all be entered. And our lovely producer, Susan, will be answering that. And I see LaSalle is on, and Allie, Alicia, good to see you. We're very glad to have you. And with that said, this is a month of movement. It is 1 year since the beginning of the pandemic. I think we're all grateful that things are different than they were a year ago. The sun is out and things are sprouting, little flowers. So we are in the process of change. So no better time like the present than to talk about movement tonight. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Jenn Schwartz, holistic injury care and performance wellness specialist and expert, educator, and champion of self-care. Welcome, Jenn.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Susan, Lauren.
So glad you can be here tonight. And also, hello, Marilyn, and all of our guests. I want to encourage you throughout to be able to ask questions. We've got this wonderful expert here, and if she's able to, take your questions, she will. All right, Jenn, so let's dig into your business first, and then we're going to talk about your podcast in a little bit. So tell us a little bit about your business and your passion.
Okay. Well, my business is certainly a part of my passion, which is really helping people recover fully from chronic injuries, chronic pain, and realizing their best physical self, and and using exercise to do that. But we also, like in our business, we use a very specific therapeutic process called muscle activation techniques. And everything that we offer is kind of centered around that in the business. So I am a muscle activation techniques RX full body specialist. I'm one of 90 in the world at that level.
Wow.
It's a wonderful honor, because what we do is we look for muscle imbalances. People come to us with chronic pain, chronic injuries, performance goals. I work with a lot of athletes, and we're using this technique to look for muscle imbalances, look for muscles that are underperforming and rectify them and strengthen them in this like neuromuscular way. So that has to do with how the brain and the muscle communicate. So I'm kind of like this muscle whisperer. Like I've definitely been called
Muscle whisperer. I like that.
that. And so we also offer activation-based fitness at our studio, which is very tailored. It's one-on-one. All of our services are one-on-one. And we also have an in-house physical therapist who does some wonderful work in the world of chronic pain. Yep, there's our little studio. There's one of our athletes, and using a Pilates piece of equipment. We have just had the opportunity to work with so many different types of people. But I've also done a lot of work with younger athletes in the Alexandria area. I was a program director there for 7 years almost, and that was in health promotion, injury prevention, and fitness for all those travel players that
Wow.
in the middle school and high school age. So that was
Is
about
there
400 kids.
Wow. I was
Yeah.
say, is there a reason, is this your desire, or is there a reason that you attract athletes and high performance
Yeah.
individuals?
Maryland asked a good question. We use muscle testing. Yes, you've got it. And we're looking for a very a specific amount of force going into the test and how responsive the body is. So a lot of people know muscle testing if they've been to a chiropractor, but we use that in a much more um, specific way. So, for example, I can test 450 muscles and go through like the whole entire foot and or the toe or the thumb, like any muscle you can think of. I can That's on the outside of the body, not holding up an organ. I can do it. I can test it and see how well it's stabilizing in that area. And so the focus on athletes is because the modality was really built around athletes. It happens to be able to help all kinds of muscle issues, including like balance with stroke patients, including helping people manage diabetes, because having a functioning muscle system is very important to have, to control diabetes. And but the technique itself was really built for athletes, and it's very popular in the NFL and the MMA circle of folks.
Martial
um,
arts.
and yeah, so and because of that, I do get to work with some pretty phenomenal athletes. So yeah, but it can work for just so many people. I have older clients, I have younger clients, and it's certainly something for me.
So someone asked what
Muscle
kind of,
activation techniques. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, someone asked what kind of modalities you're using. So that would be one, correct?
hmm That's the main one.
You
That's the
also other
main
things.
thing people come to us
Yeah.
for. hmm
Okay.
And then the
And
other ones
actually,
are just
wait.
fitness prescription all around that.
Okay. Well, let's stick with the muscle activation because this is interesting since you are one of the few people in the world that do it. Can you give us an example, like if an athlete came to, is it in recovery or could it be to strengthen like certain muscles? Like, why might someone
Sure.
seek out?
I can think of one person I'm working with now who's 6 months post-op of a knee reconstruction.
Mhm.
So a good time to come to me would be to supplement her physical therapy after she's kind of moving, she's able to run, she's able to touch a ball. So what I'll do then is I can test all the hamstrings around the knee. I can look for muscle imbalances that led up to the injury in the first place, and help along the recovery process, all by helping the muscles be more connected and more available. So what that means is if you are running and you feel something that hurts, and it's getting worse. So let's say you're still moving, you don't notice an obvious like gap in your gait. It doesn't look bad, doesn't feel bad, but just kind of tight and it hurts.
Yeah.
That is something I can help with. So I can help that not get worse and figure out where it's coming from. And then another example with like another knee surgery is we can work as soon as like they're cleared by their physical therapist to work with someone else. Then I would help them, increase their muscle system's ability to withstand more stress. And that is one of the things that makes this modality completely above the cut of everything else. Most modalities, when we talk about body touching, they're essentially, a lot of them are trying to take stress off the frame, deload it, unload the nervous system. But with MAT, we can unload that and help the muscle system gain more resilience, because when they leave my office, their muscles are more responsive and therefore can withstand more stress. And stress can be anything from dehydration to overdoing it. 3 days in the gym. Like it doesn't take much. Unfortunately, we have to be on top of our recovery in order for this technique to work. And so, that's why I'm so passionate about the nervous system, about the immune system, about the muscles, because it's all interconnected. And once you see that the muscles need recovery in order to perform, then I'm in here promoting a full holistic lifestyle, because they're coming to me for, I mean, when people come to me, they should know that I'm not going to poke or stretch or prod any of the injury site. I'm going to look around it to see why it's not stable, and then perhaps work on the site that might hurt. So it's a very holistic system. So it's obvious to me that I have to think holistically about the body. So it's, a lot of things.
Yeah, it sounds like a great approach. And first of all, like before we move on, I just want to welcome some of our new people, especially Steve, who is our Music Monday guy. Welcome. And if you're new and just tuning in to Jenn Schwartz, we're interviewing her. She's from Impact Fitness, performance and injury wellness expert and educator of all of us common folk out here. So thank you, Jenn, for being here. We're also giving away a fitness tracker at $7.25. So if you are interested, please say hi in the comment box. Jenn, let's go back to what you just said about holistic. You're talking about this holistic approach to the body, right? For really well-informed treatment plan. But you and I have also been talking about like just a holistic approach to overall health and wellness. And I would like to bring in, if it's okay, talking about your podcast now, which you had told me about, that you Think Fit, Be Fit, that you launched to bring in a really intelligent, conversation to our education around exercise and just wellness. So let's go ahead, if it's okay, and let's play your intro to your podcast and listen to that.
Okay.
Which one? Clip one?
Please play clip one. Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry.
Hello, podcast world. Welcome to Think Fit, Be Fit podcast. My name is Jennifer Schwartz. I'm the founder of Impact Your Fitness and the Think Fit, Be Fit podcast network. I'm also a certified muscle activation techniques RX practitioner, a certified exercise physiologist with a master's degree in health sciences. My mission is to get you an upgraded mindset for a more potent workout. I inspire and educate everyone to build resilience and knowledge to boost their quality of health and fitness. The Think Fit, Be Fit podcast network is a refreshing change of pace from how you would normally talk about fitness. Think about it like this. Seeing things from multiple perspectives and gaining a deeper understanding of how things really work will help you achieve greater fitness, health, and wellness.
Yep.
Okay. And also, folks, I taped this like on my phone off of your podcast voice and audio. I just want to say is stellar and easy to listen to. So, but this is my recording of it. So what a great intro. Talk to us about what motivated you to do this podcast.
Well, it's very clear that I really love thinking deeply about the body and harmony in the body. So I express that through exercise. I think exercise is one of the most beautiful things, and I just cannot take it if people treat it as this, like, you know, this thing they have to do. Oh my God, I have to exercise. I really want to change that outlook. I really want my audience to connect deeper with exercise and fall in love with it. So, you know, I saw that in my clients. I was frustrated. They were investing in my services. They want to get better. They want to exercise for life, you know, and do it without a ton of chronic pain, which is honestly, if just that wish by itself, hell yeah, because we're aging every day. So if you have that, you are courageous, I'm telling you, and you're kind of a rebel, if you ask me. Because everything else is telling us to take it, you know, and just age and, you know, anyway.
I'm not into
so
that.
I was just frustrated with my clients that didn't have the tools. They didn't have the tools, and it wasn't like the leg extension machine, because we mostly have access to that. Back when I started it in 2018, it was the thinking tools, is like these, and that's what I had to do. So and once I started, it was very clear that it was going to be a part of my life, because I just love it. Eleni was one of my first guests.
Oh,
Dr.
yeah,
Eleni.
my business partner. Well, you know, I think you said like broadening like our perspective on things versus something we have to do versus something we want to do. And some of us who do move and exercise have found that sweet spot. Like for me, it was years ago, and I used to be like, same, which we'll get into a little bit later. I did it to lose weight, right? But then I was like, one day I'm like, this actually just feels good, right? From a relaxation standpoint. And now I'm like, it hurts me to not move a lot, you know, and I actually look forward to it, right? But, you know, I think I think most people know exercise on some level is good for us, right? It's good for your body. It's good for your mind, might help you sleep better, might be less stressed. But there's a lot more to it, right? And you say exercise is medicine. So talk
Not
to
just me.
Yeah.
There's a whole council on that. It's very medicinal.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, there are some leading bodies of move your emotions, love that. The leading bodies on that are called the American College of Lifestyle Medicine and the American College of Sports Medicine, which I am a member of both of those things. In fact, I also teach for, anyways, we're not going to get into that. So, and exercise as medicine is so true because it can treat and prevent, it can treat chronic illness.
Right.
So, and it's proven in research, in meta-analysis, and it's not like, I'm not going to argue about this.
No one's
like,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
it. But the main body of research that has been able to prove that is through the hormones. And I did a whole podcast, Love Fest, on this woman in Denmark. She's a endocrinologist, exercise physiologist, and has pinpointed exactly how exercise, contracting a muscle. So you can't take a pill and get this. You have to contract muscle intentionally to be able to get the cascade of hormones that come out and interact with the immune system, the nervous system, and the brain all at once.
Yep.
Just to prime you, your body, your system, to get the most out of your movement. Now, back in the day, it was to save your behind from getting eaten.
Sure.
Or
evolution.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, yeah, but now we don't have to worry about too many lions on the street, and we can purposefully turn on our physiological response, our nervous system, our muscle system, and exercise. And if we do it with a certain love, if we do it with the right intentions, we can get more out of it. And this is a counterculture idea from whoop your ass, no pain, no gain. All of that stuff in my world has to be thrown out. Like, I'm done. Like, I can't. Like, I just, we can't do that to ourselves anymore. We can't tell ourselves that exercise has to hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like, why
it's
are
bad.
we're really awesome at beating ourselves up in our minds and our bodies. Like, why are we not loving and nourishing our bodies? Like, why aren't we not moving them to make them healthy, or moving them with grace, or to perform more optimally, as well as our minds? It's an excellent point.
Yeah, I didn't even get into the brain stuff. I mean, that the way that the brain can actually, it's like, exercise is like, it can be fertilizer for learning and memory.
Yes.
So essentially, if you work out in the morning for 10 to 12 minutes of high intensity cardio, your brain will be so much more ready for the day. And they've been able to prove this across socioeconomic levels, which is huge.
Yeah.
And do it in like schools, and just show that kids, without getting tutored and just having exercise, can improve their writing scores on these standardized tests, compared to other children who were getting tutoring and not having exercise in the morning. And they were literally putting these kids on ellipticals in the gym in the morning to test this. And they tested it again, and they did it in socioeconomic levels. And it was astounding to see people who would not have a chance at these academic scores get a chance at these academic scores by using exercise.
Yeah.
And like, that's like, I don't know, that just gave me chills. Like, that's going to change the world.
Yeah, it really is. And I listened to your podcast, and let's just go ahead and play clip 2. And everybody in the audience, just hang tight. We will announce the fitness tracker in a few minutes, whoever won that. Okay, Susan, can you play clip 2?
That I run and operate called Impact Your Fitness Studio, and it comes up in the podcast often because we're always talking about how people can change, how if we change the way that we interact with our exercise, that changes our body and our mind. So one of my favorite teachers really helped me understand this by saying, when you exercise, you are also like altering your brain and your mind and your body, and seeing those things as different entities is a really expansive and meta way to view the nervous system and view the muscular system. So that's really why I'm sharing this. This is something that really inspires me. So there's a here's a definition of what this is: neuroplasticity. And it can be viewed as the general umbrella term that refers to the brain's ability to modify, change, and adapt both structure and function throughout life and in response to experience. This is just really important to know because as adults, when we want to change, we have to recognize that our body can change. When people ask me in interviews about my perspective and how I teach and help people heal from chronic pain, chronic injury, or prevent injury, is that, one of the things I have to get every client that comes into my clinic on my table, I need them to believe that their body can change. So this
Okay. Great.
Need.
Yeah. Well, and I know, and maybe like we're so used to it because we're in the field. I'm like, who doesn't know about neuroplasticity? And I know Allie Byrne does because your aunt, sorry, is a therapist here also. And,
cool.
right, like there's so much that happens in our early childhood, but it's not like we're stuck over time. There's those parts of our brain, right, especially the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory, and the emotional amygdala and our learning, right? So learning as possible, we can learn different things. But I really loved in this one because this was your podcast about rewiring. I'm sorry, it was about anxiety. I don't think it was called rewiring your brain.
It was about neuroplasticity, but I had to throw in there something about anxiety.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to start and begin with that exercise. First of all, this is like very vulnerable what I'm about to say, but the reason why I'm so, I want to say like focused on this type of work is because my mom died of Lou Gehrig's disease.
Mm.
And like once you see somebody's nervous system leave their body, I mean, there's nothing you can, talk about that like could frame the nervous system in the way that I see it. You know what I mean? Like I have one colleague, we did a podcast in January. His name's Keith. His father died of Lou Gehrig's disease. Mm-hmm. And we just talked about, anyways. You'll love that episode, Lauren, actually, because it's about emotions and it's great. So I just, I didn't know where to start and stop with that one, was my point. And I think when it comes to anxiety, I just thought it was like, I just think it's just such an interesting thing to take away is that one bout of exercise is like giving your brain like an anti-anxiety effect, like medication. And in pain science, which I'm certified in, something called pain neuroscience education. And it, we often say that like, there's a medicine cabinet in your brain. And that's one of the ways you can teach neuroplasticity is because your thoughts can literally change how your body's interacting with your emotions and your whatever.
Absolutely.
So that's why I put the anxiety thing in there. And
it's great.
In there.
Well, I mentioned because there's a lot of really good information in that one, but you're right. Like, in our world, we're always preaching movement, right? We know cortisol levels, but neuroplasticity, for us, right, in our therapies, we're always, neural pathway, when we have the same behavior we do over and over and it creates anxiety, like we continue to like avoid and try to escape that. And it's like a really thick pathway. But when we start like doing something different, as Jen mentioned, thinking different or acting different, we start to build that new learning pathway and we have a good experience, but you got to repeat it over and over, but we're capable of doing that. What I like that you brought in is that like exercise really, you like, makes it a more fertile field for that change as well.
Yeah,
and,
the BDNF.
Yeah,
that's
and I never put two and two together. I used to walk and run, and I'd have all these great ideas, and I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm like moving and like keeping that part of the brain. So I love the integration of exercise just helping you on its own, but like it's making your brain more plastic, right? More amenable and open. So actually this week was I'm even thinking about with my therapy clients, and I think Allie will like this, like be like, listen, if you want to make change faster, like these are the things you should start doing right now with like movement. I love that. Like
I
12
love
minutes in
it.
the morning, the movement, the food. I mean, because there's so many things we could be doing to honor and support our foundation. And you're bringing a wonderful knowledge to people about that.
Yeah.
Let's take a break for a second. Okay, we're going. Thank you, Lizelle. Great show. Thank you, everybody, for your support. And you're right, Marilyn, about the vagus nerve. Okay, so the winner of our fitness tracker is Anna Hall. Congratulations. We'll get your information. I bet you're already moving, but if you're not, fitness tracker is great. And, everything's about mindset, which we're going to talk about in a second. And to me, I'll tell you, you want to be, well, and thank you for sharing your vulnerability. I do know the things that we go through, like also motivate us to, share and learn and, help others. So I appreciate you sharing your story. And I will tell you, in the beginning of the pandemic, like everybody, it was quite an adjustment. And I went to not moving, eating more, and just trying to figure out like what the hell was going on, right, while also taking care of everybody else. So a couple months in, as I was getting more depressed and anxious, I was just like, man, all right, I know I need to move, I know I need to eat better. And I got a fitness tracker, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to start with 5 minutes, just going to walk around the block, because it seemed way too overwhelming at that time to do anything major. And I just started, and I was like, bad, and started eating a little bit better. I felt better. And I laugh, and I'm not making it simplistic, but I'm like, wow, there is something to this, and we know it, but it's like doing it and reconnecting like with a good old friend. And now I'm strength training and moving every day, but it's just starting. So hopefully for those of you who aren't, you are, because you also mentioned the fact that like that moving your muscles, all those things have to happen, like release of hormones, and we have been stagnant. A lot of us have been stagnant more than ever this year. So move.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we talk about your, you said, let's play clip 3. It'll be our final clip.
Okay.
Please, Susan.
Okay. So what's about to come for these episodes of Love to Move? These are dedicated really to being more in love with exercise. So no surprise that this is in February because, I'm really feeling that the love, okay? My goal is to show you how you can use groundbreaking science to embody a love affair with exercise. Because exercising muscle does so much more than burn calories. It really acts as a potent disease protector. And the idea is like, wouldn't it be nice to enjoy the process rather than beating yourself up and burping yourself to exhaustion just because that's what you're supposed to do? And the refreshing new take that I'm offering is that exercise improves and changes lives. We know that. But starting this beautiful relationship with exercise. So it's a relationship first, like how you view it, how you treat it, how you plan for it, how you make time for it. We start this beautiful relationship with a desire to embody science in your fitness. This will reward you with freedom, health benefits inside and out. And again, like the shift is going from I have to exercise all the time to wow, what a beautiful opportunity this is in a relationship that I can grow. Or if you're already there, hang with me to dig your heels into this new paradigm of building muscle to be an exercise science cheerleader like myself. Because
Okay. Listen, I do get it. Never gets old listening to yourself, right?
Oh my God. So
know.
that's my like 114th episode. Yes, Allie. And I don't know. I'm jazzed about it now. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, you're sharp. I'm like talking to myself.
Yeah. I know, but we're so grateful for you because it's like, I get it. Like it's vulnerable putting yourself out, but you're just putting the information you out and like that you that you love and what you care about. And it's great messaging. And like, it wasn't this clip where you're like, I want to have a love affair. I want people to have a love affair with exercise, right? And then people might sound like that's crazy, but it's really not. Like, and I love the messaging that what if we love and what if we don't go about shaming ourselves and fat phobia? Because that was the other clip we didn't play. But
fat phobia, we can touch on that.
Mm-hmm.
Or did you have another question in mind?
No,
Okay.
State your piece.
Okay. Have to have my so the fat phobia thing is a cultural nod. I think that I think that now that we know all this hormonal stuff on a science level, I think we can start collectively teaching the doctors, teaching the practitioners, the behavioral therapists, how to intervene, how to help with healthy habits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that by using that information, we can stop using BMI, for crying out loud. Because the other thing is if we're just measured by how much fat we have, how could we see the other side? How could we see what I've seen? Like I've been this work has my education has shaped me so much. I've spent more hours in a cadaver lab than most people. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've dissected cadavers and I've seen the insides. And you guys, if you saw the insides, you would love them too. I promise.
And this has helped you to
just help people see that we can, giving the love into the inside view of exercise can help us alleviate ourselves from this idea that fat is the enemy. It's not. Fat is just a thing that's in our body. We actually have fat that's very, very metabolically effective and helpful. It's called brown fat. And
you go into that and
I go into that. That's a great place to really learn about this idea. So we can stop this institutionalized attack on fat. It's like we can exercise because it can prevent and treat chronic disease. And yes, obesity and a lack of activity is a problem. But we've known that for decades, and the problem is getting worse, for crying out loud. So we've just been doing it the wrong way, I think.
Yeah, I agree, because we go into a fear and shame cycle and then deprivation and all of that, right? Instead of like love and honor and nourish your body and mind, right? When you do those things, good things follow, good things happen, right?
Yes. Retweet.
Hallelujah. Good things happen. All right. Yeah. So I hope, in conclusion, we've, there's been some tidbits that you've picked up today in our audience. I mean, Jenn has tons of great information on her podcast. I really hope that you check it out. Also, Jenn, do you want to tell them about your masterclass that you have this month?
I have to say, like, I've been as someone who does a lot of touching for their living, it has been such a wonderful opportunity to work with people in a virtual space, which I have been doing for a couple of years before the pandemic. And so what we're doing now is we have a monthly webinar that's totally free. You just have to give us your email address, and at impactyourfitness.net, you'll find all the links. And what we are doing is a home gym walkthrough. I'm going to try to keep it to 30 to 40 minutes, and I'm going to take you through very minimal pieces of equipment, meaning like a yoga block, a strap, a kettlebell, and I'm going to show you how to apply exercise techniques that will make them more strength-based. So I'm going to show you how to make a yoga block and a yoga strap more strength-based, and walk you through a home gym. What I think you really need for a strength training workout at home with minimal equipment. So I'm not going to get into too much like instruction. There's going to be a lot of demonstration. I'll probably have someone with me to demonstrate, but we're going to go into like just kind of expanding your exercise knowledge by looking at minimal equipment. March 31st, it's at 11:30 Eastern and totally free. Sign up at impactyourfitness.net. I'm totally stoked. I love doing this stuff. I love educating. So it'd be my honor to have you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate all that you're doing, all the messages you're sharing that you shared with us today and with everyone going forward. Thank you so much, Jenn, for being on tonight.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I love this. This was just so much fun.
Awesome. And we will put all your information again in the chat box. You can find Jenn. Before we conclude, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight, especially for some of my loyal followers who are not in the chat box, but I know they're there. Peter and Carol Fisher and Sam Yee. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and especially to my father who will be visiting this weekend. It'll be the first time in a year, which is insane, but I am so excited that you are coming, Dad. Now that you have your vaccines, we are definitely seeing a silver wave here in Delray, and it is nothing short of heartwarming. So I hope that you all remember that change is on the horizon, things are in movement, and life is going to be looking different for the better as we move through this year. To wrap up, also, just want to remind you, tomorrow is Elisa Kovich's Make It Alexandria here on ZTV at 7 p.m. And then next Monday is Steve Houck's music show at 7 p.m. And he'll have Michael Tash, who is apparently pretty awesome bluesgrass guy. All right, everybody, have a wonderful night. And remember, and thank you, Ellie and Mary, hello, be the good news in someone's life. Take care.